Hello, and welcome to Navigating to Success. I'm Jeff Carlton, certified focal business coach and executive coach, and I'm continuing the South Dakota journey with my new friend Milana Semmler. She is a partner in Jodder, your social companion. We've got a number of other business ventures, but she's based out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Um, Second person I've had from Sioux Falls. Really excited to get some more of the Plain States onto the series and hear what you've got going on. So, as always, I will not explain the business as well as the owner can. So, I am going to let Milana tell us about Jodder. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Jodder was created to help small and medium-sized businesses as well as nonprofits and franchisees really help with their social media. What we do is we create a set number of posts each month for our clients that really help establish them as brand experts in their industry. And we make sure that their social media content is cohesive, branded. So if you're looking on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it may be, their content is the same. That was a need that we saw in our community. And after doing some research, we saw it was a solution that many businesses needed.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how long has Jodder been around?
So we've officially been around for a little over 6 months. We'll be celebrating 1 year in this summer, end of July, beginning of August there. We did start piloting with some clients in February of last year just to see if this model would work. And after a few months in, we saw that it was good to go and we kind of pushed live then.
Fantastic. So, how big are you now? How many people is Jodder?
Yes. So with our internal team, we have a handful of contract workers that we work with. So we are right under 10 for that. And then we are right under 50 clients right now.
Wow. So you've grown pretty fast in 6, 7 months. It kind of took off, which is good for a marketing and branding company, right?
Yes.
Um, so what was the spark? I mean, you said you felt like you had a need, but when did you recognize that there wasn't need? What's your background that got you in and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this, and I think we can make this work."
Yeah. So a little background, before Jodder, actually, I started a consulting company called RM Basic Marketing. And really, I was working in marketing for about 4 or 5 years, and I worked with small businesses, franchisees, corporations, all of the above and really saw a need for more affordable solutions for the consulting side. So that's really how RM Basic Marketing was born. From that, it was always a side hustle, something that I was kind of doing on the side as I was working to take it full time. With that opportunity, I've met amazing people in our community, and Brooke Fitz and Kimber Severson are two of my past leaders, and they actually are the ones that started the idea with Jodder. They were doing some consulting work and saw this need for, again, affordable social media solution services, and started doing some investigating of, hey, what are other people doing? Why are people not succeeding on social media? And really, that's how the idea of Jodder was born, to really help create that consistency for social for businesses, because most people have maybe their front desk person posting on social every once in a while when they remember, or maybe somebody who's also juggling all these other things in the businesses. So the businesses were not getting their fair share on social with posting and really interacting with clients on a consistent basis.
So, as you were talking there, it brought a question up that um, I've had several conversations about. What kind of businesses don't work on, say, um, certain social media platforms? Like, not every client you have might be appropriate for Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. They may only be appropriate for LinkedIn. How do you discern that? What's your uh, how do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, part of our process includes industry research and then also social media trends and research that is happening. And then from there, kind of creating a plan of, hey, if your goal is to truly, let's say, establish yourself as the expert in your industry, LinkedIn would be more than likely a great option. Versus if you're maybe trying a boutique trying to sell clothing, you're probably not going to sell on LinkedIn. However, there's still an opportunity for you to have a social presence on LinkedIn, as maybe talking about your business in and outs of like wholesaling. What does this look like? So there's still an opportunity, but I think it comes down to what is the client's end goal. If your goal is to sell more product, then potentially doing a social channel that supports that better versus maybe one that doesn't align with selling, for instance.
Yeah, and the reason I ask that is because I've got some conflicting data points. I mean, if you're an oil field services company, um, your clients are probably not on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I've had a couple people that have been on series that are run excavation companies, and they have a crazy following on Facebook and Instagram because people love seeing heavy equipment move massive quantities of dirt in a short period of time. I don't know what it is. It's like it's crazy. So I really wanted to get your take on that. And so you put some science behind it by doing market research.
Yep, that is correct. And you touched a very good point there. With that example, if what your audience wants is that awareness, video is a great tactic. So again, you may not think of, hey, I'm going to get customers from Instagram. Maybe you're trying to just raise that awareness for that younger demographic, but it still helps with that brand awareness and presence. So I think it really goes back to what is the goal of the business? Are you trying to sell more? Are you trying to generate that awareness? It all goes hand in hand, but kind of having some of those strategic conversation upfront definitely helps us create a game plan, but also provide the best recommendations of platforms.
So we talked a little bit about the impact that you actually have um, for the client, or what the intent of the impact for the client is. And I appreciate the fact that you said having a strategic conversation with them. Let's talk about the formation of Jodder because it's a fairly young company. I mean, you haven't even you haven't even had a birthday cake yet, right?
Yes.
Um, so you were working in the industry for other people. What has been your experience with coming out of the umbrella of working for somebody else into owning and running a business yourself
hmm it has had a lot of ups and downs. I think the biggest part is I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't necessarily know what I was maybe talented at. Or when I looked at my skills, I feel like, hey, I can't go build wooden benches. I can't do this. So it took a while for me to, that was over the course of years in schooling and just experience to figure out what I was actually good at. And marketing was kind of that piece. So in the back of my head, I always knew I wanted to own my business. So it was just a matter of time, I think, before taking those next steps and um, going full time. So I think the biggest thing that I noticed when I did take the leap of faith and was in the business day in, day out was just the freedom that I almost had of, hey, I can go do have a lunch meeting if I need to, and if it runs long, that's fine. Or hey, I can go do these errands, whatever it may be. But then I knew I was also getting my work done. And sometimes if I work great at 2 a.m., awesome. Just having that flexibility was, I think, one of the biggest things I noticed. However, with that, there's definitely some of those misconceptions or maybe not so fun things of a quote I had written down is I quit my 9 to 5 so I can work for myself 24/7, which is what it feels like sometimes. And the other part too, for me, that was really hard was kind of turning it off. I would say it took a while for me to learn how to be able to differentiate between, hey, now I'm working, or hey, now I need some time off or some personal time. I think getting in that mindset of learning how to not think about the business 24/7, or not have it be as loud is definitely something that was a challenge.
So that's an interesting one, and sometimes I bring that up is the work-life balance, and the way I kind of will frame that up is: do you block schedule your calendar for times that you're specifically going to work, or do you block schedule your calendar for times you're going to specifically not work?
Both. I used to kind of approach it more of, hey, I'll get whatever comes up for my day, kind of tackle it. But I found I am most productive when I can check things off my list. So usually I'll schedule time to just check meetings, or pardon me, just check emails, maybe having like creative sessions, but then also having different like meeting blocks that I send out with to people if we need to have a coffee meeting or lunch or a strategy session, having those specific meetings already blocked on my calendar to kind of when I work best throughout the day. So I can be most present, but then also be most efficient as well.
I think that's an important thing that often gets overlooked is making sure that you plan for, and I like the way you termed it, be most present. Especially in your line of work, you have to really understand the client and what they're doing and be able to focus in on it. So I appreciate that comment a lot. Um, Switching gears, let's talk about AI and innovation within your space. How much has that changed in the last? You've been in the industry for 4 to 6 years, right?
Um, a little bit longer. So I started interning about, or my first taste of marketing was about 9 years ago, um, of when I actually started in the field and got my toes wet.
Well, now that you're in the deep end of the pool and treading water, tell me what AI is doing and how it's changing the face of what you do.
I think it has been an amazing asset to our industry. One of the biggest differences is truly automation and how much time we can save, but also help automate things. With clients, sometimes they don't know what they don't know. So, for instance, like helping find a brand voice, that is an awesome tool that AI has been able to help with generating different captions. One thing we like to say is, or do is repurpose content. So if you post something, only about 5% of your audience will see it on a given platform. So let's just say you invested all this time and money and resource on a video or graphics, and you're just going to post a one time to only 5% of your audience to see it. Well, that doesn't make sense. So we can repurpose that. Let's say we can create some awesome copy, and then we can reuse the copy or find different variations of it. So those are just some ways it has drastically improved the marketing industry. And I think the biggest consumer benefit too is now marketing doesn't have to be as expensive as it was before. Back in the day, we were probably, or agencies were probably charging 2,500 plus a month to run social or create social media content. Now, with all the tools and technology, it really doesn't need to be that expensive. And that's something with Jodder that we were able to do and incorporate AI into our process to help make it more efficient and affordable.
That's interesting. It's almost contradictory to a growth strategy. So if if the um, if the amount that you're charging is decreasing in order to keep your same gross revenues, you have to increase client base. How are you tackling that?
Sure, good question. With us, our goal is to really be the industry experts. At the end of the day, anybody can go Google or YouTube how to post to social media, how to create content, what tools do I need to do. With us at Jodder, we truly put everything together in a one-stop shop for clients. We're creating the content, we're publishing it for them, we're doing all that work. Again, we want to be able to share information and tips with people because, like I said, at the end of the day, somebody can go Google and do this on their own. And if people can do that, that's awesome. But what we find is really that time saver that people aren't necessarily having the time to do that. So that's where we come into play. And with our pricing from when we had launched has stayed the same there. The example I had given was just traditional agencies from the past, maybe the price there. And all that. So I think that will be interesting to see kind of how it does continue to change. And for us, we do want to continue to add value to our clients and customers. So right now we currently just offer content creation. So, and we have different subscription services for it if you want 5, 10, 20, 30 posts currently. But there is an opportunity to add on additional services. Maybe it's social media engagement, for instance, and that could impact the price since it's additional work.
Right. No, you've definitely got some models and some strategies in mind. What does Jodder look like on its second birthday, 18 months from now? What's your
Ooh,
strategic plan?
good question. Well, a growing team or a growing network of creators there. Um, Hopefully hitting 100 clients and then continuing to give back to the community and others. As we're working on hitting our 50 clients, we're actually working on some fun projects, which I'm hoping to announce soon. But really, I had also alluded to the fact of being kind of those social media experts. So hopefully in year 2, working on some more social media courses and potentially certifications. And again, being a one-stop shop, not just for businesses, but also for content creators.
So you mentioned community, and that's been a little bit of a theme with some of the interviews I've done very recently. Because they've been centric in smaller communities. Um, First off, um, how are you specifically local right now, or are you national? What is your primary client base?
Yeah, I would say about 80% of our clients are local, and then we do have a handful of clients that are outside of South Dakota. So North Dakota, Colorado, we're in Georgia as well currently, and Canada, soon to be Canada as well.
Fantastic. So, and I think that's important for people to know that this really is an industry that lends itself to virtual engagement online. Is what it is. Um, so you've got that plan. Is that growth plan specifically, is it targeted locally, or are you targeting, are you going to open up the gates and look nationally and internationally?
Yeah, definitely nationally, as we've been kind of getting some of those clients from the national side. I think international would be something different and maybe down the line. And the reason I say that is different areas of even different areas of the country, but especially different areas of the world, the way they use social media and engage is really different. So I think us being US based, and especially I know you had alluded to it in the beginning of being Midwest based, just the different norms and things you can speak to or touch on are super important. So I think maybe I'm not going to say no, but if there's that opportunity, I think it's even looking at building the teams that we have in those different areas to help even service those clients better and being able to connect on that community level and especially know what's going on. If there's something in the state that everybody does or in their country on a certain date, they're able to pick up on those easier and incorporate it on social and have some fun campaigns that way.
Given that you're on a growth trajectory right now, and we talked about it a little bit, um, tell everyone who you're recruiting to, or if you're recruiting at all right
Yes. So we are down the line here, hopefully in the next couple of months, looking at expanding our content creator pool. So the way we have that structured is It's essentially a freelance approach where you can create content on the side to your regular job. So looking at expanding that pool, but then also looking at having different affiliates and sales positions as well to really help share the news and the services of Jodder.
There you go. If you want to get in on Jodder and get established, affiliated early, it sounds like on a part-time basis, even look them up for sure. So, two more questions. If you had a magic wand or some fairy dust, what is one thing you would change about where you're at right now?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I wish I would have gotten started sooner on both the business that I did start, but also in digital marketing. I wish I would have started with the services sooner. It's such an evolving market. It was different 9 years ago than it is now. So if I could go back and tell my younger self, it would be to start now and do that.
How hard has it been?
What was that?
How hard has it been owning
Um,
your own?
yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. I feel like it's come almost second nature to me that it hasn't felt as hard in terms of specializing or focusing in on social media and even starting the business. I actually, in high school, I started or I was part of a group called Academy of Finance where we took business classes, learned about entrepreneurship. So I feel like I had some good building blocks. And with Sioux Falls being such an amazing community of resources, a lot of those things just came naturally, or it was easy to get information or help. Um, and then looking on the providing the service of social media, I feel like it's something that I was ingrained in or part of every day, that it almost seemed, like I said, second nature. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have definitely been challenging parts of it, but I would say most of it has been natural.
Sounds like a big piece of this has been you've had great community support and lots of people that helped you along the way. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yep, I would definitely agree.
And I think that's an important thing for people not to overlook is how important a supporting each other in business can be. Um, so, what's the one lesson learned over the last 7 or 8 months since you kicked this off that you would tell somebody else that was getting ready to kick off their own thing or was struggling in their first or second year?
Yes. The biggest part I would share is consistency. Just whatever you are doing, do it consistently. It may seem really simple or easy, but that's kind of where that consistency part comes into play. If you want to reach out to 10 people every day or post every day on social media, whatever it is, you may not see those results right away, but just staying consistent with it is some of the biggest advice I can share.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me. We've pretty much hit the end of our time. Um, Look up Jodder, folks. Milana's obviously, if you couldn't tell, she's bringing some energy to the fight here. She's pretty enthusiastic, and it's encouraging for sure. Any parting shots?
Have fun. Don't forget about like on social, it's about fun and community and personalization. So just be who you are and show up and your followers and community will be able to see that and they're going to want to follow along.
Well, there you go. Make your business fun. That's a novel concept, and it often gets lots. Don't forget why you became an entrepreneur in the first place, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, for everybody watching, I look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Navigating to Success. Appreciate any likes and subscribes. And please look up Milana and Jodder, your social companion. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you
Thanks
so
again.
much.